The biggest mystery in K-pop Demon Hunters right now is how Mira is actually a demon, and it starts from her hair color. So subscribe now because we're about to have the biggest reveal from the film that everyone missed. The color. The world of K-pop Demon Hunters is quite colorful, but we must start with the one fact that the movie establishes, through its careful visual storytelling, that most viewers probably missed when they watched it for the first time. Every single demon character we can see in the film, whether it's the Saja boys or the other threats, has brightly colored hair. They are not subtle or temporary dye jobs, but the supernatural colors that don't exist in normal human genetics. This can mean bright pinks, electric blues, vivid purples, and other colors that immediately signal that something is wrong with this individual. Now, first let's look at the water demons and the reapers who appear throughout the film. They mostly have black hair, consistently without exception. These aren't even random design choices, but they tell us a lot, which gives us the biological markers of this supernatural race. The movie absolutely makes us see this pattern vividly, even if we don't consciously register what it means. And if you know about the directors, they are full of mystery from the get-go. This is where things get interesting, because none of the Huntrix fans, the normal human girls who idolize the group, have colored hair. Not even the superfans who obsess over Mira, style their makeup to match her, and attend every single concert have anything like that. They can have blonde hair, brunette hair, black hair, and normal hair colors, but never the vivid, supernatural, crazy shades that we see with an actual character with demon blood. That's because, according to this theory, colored hair from birth is something that occurs naturally but only in those who were born with demon genetics running through their veins. However, there's one exception that we want to clear right now, because I know that it's going to bother everyone after the hair color theory. Genu exception. Let's talk about Genu, who is one of the film's key demon characters. He is undoubtedly a demon with supernatural power, and his abilities are those that he got from the Demon King himself. Just look at his hair. It's completely black, just like a normal human being. Now you might be wondering, this makes the whole color theory obsolete. Here's why it doesn't break the pattern. Genu was actually born 100% demon. He wasn't born with demon blood like many others, but he acquired the powers later through transformation, or a pact of some supernatural event that changed his entire nature. The colored hair marker only applies to those who were born with demon blood, not humans who became demons later. Let's apply the same logic to Rumi and Mira. Both have had brightly colored hair since their birth. They are not dyed at all, but their natural hair color has been from their early childhood. Rumi has had the distinctive shade, and Mira always had pink hair. That means both of them have demon blood running through their veins from birth, and were inherited from at least one of their demon ancestors. Rumi didn't turn into a demon later on with the pact of some sort, but she was born half a demon, with her father being the demon. Now if you apply the same thing to Mira, it just makes sense. Both of them must have had some kind of human ancestors, and maybe we'll even see some kind of backstory to what happened to them. The Saja boys' transformation. The hair color rule still applies throughout the film's mythology, including the Saja boys, who are the demon boy band antagonists. People are saying that they were regular human boy bands before selling their souls and transforming into demons. This is actually visual evidence supporting this. That was buried in the background of one of the scenes. In the first scene, when Saja appears in the quick flashback moments and background details, they all have black hair. They were either cut short or tied back in buns. We can clearly see, with Romance's character, due to the transparency of his hat in certain lighting, if his hair was already long and colored, we would see it under the almost translucent fabric. It's only after their demonic transformation, and after they make the dark pact that changed their fundamental nature, that they suddenly have long, vividly colored hair. That is the only storytelling and aesthetic design choice to create a K-pop group, helping the viewers to distinguish between different members during the action sequence. Mira, on the other hand, is an entirely different person with far more disturbing implications. If you are enjoying the video so far, hit that subscribe button because what's coming next will shock you a lot. Mira's hair. Let's talk about Mira now. Here is what makes her situation so suspicious. Everyone in her adoptive family has dark hair, from her parents, siblings, relatives, and anything that we've seen in the backstories. They all have normal dark hair. However, Mira is the only one with bright pink hair. And no, she didn't even dye it in teenage rebellion, because we would have seen it already. Her family was portrayed as extremely strict and traditional, which is the average South Korean household that just wants their child to become the best, as we see in the dramas. Not sure how accurate that actually is. They are the type of family that will never allow a young daughter to dye her hair an unnatural color. They were actually concerned with their reputation, self-image, and maintaining a proper appearance in the community. If Mira's pink hair isn't dyed, and her family doesn't carry that genetic trait, where the hell does it actually come from? This leads us to a very interesting situation, and it's quite a dark one. Based on the clues that were gathered throughout the film, when Mira was around 6-8 years old, her demon powers manifested for the first time during an intense emotional moment, probably due to extreme anger, fear, or even distress. The film hints that she may have accidentally hurt someone in the family during the moment, and after she lost control, her supernatural strength or abilities emerged in a dangerous and uncontrolled way. After that traumatic event, Mira even earned the unfortunate title of Black Sheep of the family, which is also used in many of the traditional Asian families, given to children who bring shame or dishonor. This often results in isolating the children from everyone else, and perhaps even ignoring them as a whole. So it does make sense that after that certain incident, the family's entire relationship made Mira collapse. Mira appears to have locked this traumatic memory away in the mental world and thrown away the key. She remembers the incident like a foggy dream, but she barely knows that she did anything bad. She doesn't know that she hurt someone somehow, but she generally doesn't understand what occurred on that day or how it happened. Her brain, in the act of psychological self-preservation, shut down the traumatic memories in order to protect her, because she wouldn't be able to process this much trauma as a young child. The demon patterns. But aside from the theories, here's something that nobody seems to talk about. It changed the viewers' minds completely. Every K-pop demon hunter, every demon character in K-pop Demon Hunter has a distinctive pattern on their bodies. This could be marking stripes or a supernatural tattoo-like design that we can see on their skin. It's quite a consistent visual identified across all demon characters. We can even see this on Mira, after it was way too difficult to ignore, because the markings went all over her body. Here's the very specific reason. There's a very specific reason that is hidden in a dialogue that seems unimportant at first. About Mira Rumi, she makes an offhand comment at one point that the more she tried to hide her patrons, the more they grew and spread over her skin. Genu also says something similar about his own experience. Here's what actually happened. These patterns represent the shame, guilt, or regret that the demons feel about something that they have done, or about their fundamental nature. This is similar to Pinocchio's nose getting longer the more he lies, or the manifestation of internalized self-hatred, supernatural shame and hate for themselves. In Mira's case, this situation is just not possible, because she has blocked every single memory of what had happened in her childhood, because of the rejection and the trauma that she suffered. It was too much for the child's mind to process. She was actually adopted after the incident, and vaguely remembers hurting someone. Perhaps she doesn't even understand how or why it happened, or who her actual parents were. Most importantly, she doesn't even know that she is a demon. That knowledge has been completely logged away in the subconscious. Here is the logical connection. If she doesn't know that she's a demon, she has no shame about being one. And if she has no shame about being one, the patterns just won't appear. It's quite simple, but at the same time disturbing. If Mira someday discovers the truth and becomes upset, ashamed, or even horrified about her own demon heritage, those patterns would appear uncontrollably across her whole body, exactly as happened to Rumi when her secret was exposed. Mira hating demons. There is another piece of evidence that is quite interesting and supports the theory perfectly. Mira hates demons from the get-go. She hates them with intensity beyond what anyone else hates them for. Not even the previous demon hunters hate demons the way Mira does. Just watch her fight scenes carefully. Every time she battles demons, she fights with barely controlled peace of mind. She's always putting all her anger and aggression into each strike, each attack, and each confrontation. There's something deeply personal about how she approaches combat with her demon enemies. Now think about the psychological mess that she has been through. If you ever remember her past and the shameful moments about how she was the one who hurt her family or people close to her, that would be devastating. Would she maintain that same aggressive, hate-filled fighting style, or would she change? I definitely don't think she's going to have the same level of hatred as she has now. There are two possible psychological outcomes here. She would contain herself and fight more consciously while being conflicted about her nature. She would use that self-knowledge as fuel, channeling her self-hatred and disgust at her demon side into fighting even harder against demons, trying to prove that she is different from the others, from the ones that are trying to destroy humanity itself. Honestly, based on everything we know about Mira's personality, her values, and her emotional pattern, we don't think she would maintain the same unconsciously aggressive fighting style if she knew about her origins. There will be hesitation, conflict, and a change in her combat approach that we just don't see anymore. Bathhouse moment. Moving forward, the most interesting detail happened in one of the scenes, which everybody seemed to have ignored. This was in one of the slice-of-life scenes where Rumi consistently refused to go to the bathhouse with other girls throughout the film. At that time, we probably thought that she was just shy or something. But we all know that the real reason was her minor demon patterns that were appearing on her body, that she was deeply ashamed to let anyone see. Mira, on the other hand, went to the bathhouse all the time. She and Zoe were super close friends for years and went together regularly. Exactly the kind of casual intimacy that you would see in two best friends, because they were comfortable seeing each other without clothes too. If Mira had any sort of demon patterns anywhere on her body, Zoe would have seen them a long time ago. Interestingly enough, Zoe never mentions anything that she sees that is unusual. There is never a moment of suspicion or awkward questions, because Mira genuinely has no demon patterns to hide. On the other hand, Rumi did everything possible to hide hers, going to extreme lengths to ensure that they never saw her skin. Here is the irony that the film established. The more she tried to hide the patterns, the more they grew and spread, ultimately taking her over. Eventually, it reached the point where Rumi only wore long sleeves and full coverage clothing, because there was simply no other way to hide those patterns that had spread way too long. And most people will try to argue against this theory by citing what Seline told Rumi when she was just a kid. She said that once the demon realm gets sealed, the patrons will disappear, but that turned out to be complete nonsense. We've already covered many videos about Seline and her shady personality too, so you should check them out as well. Rumi herself is living proof that Seline either lied or was mistaken on a level that she did not expect herself. The Han Moon was sealed at the end of the very first film, and Rumi's patrons are still clear on her skin, even though they look more like scars than active supernatural markings. So if patterns don't magically disappear even when the demon realm is sealed, that means if Mira had any pattern at any point in her life, childhood or present, they wouldn't just simply go away. The fact that she has none, not even a scar like Mark, not even in early childhood photos or any of the backstories, means that she doesn't consciously know that she carries demon blood. Here's something equally important. Seline probably has absolutely no idea about this aspect of Mira either. Seline's manipulation. Seline was always the first person to tell Rumi to hide her patrons, saying that these were flaws and they shouldn't be seen. She was basically manipulating the poor girl into thinking that something was wrong with her from the get-go. She even gave her a lot of earful about maintaining a perfect public image and how it was paramount for group success. For Mira, Rumi, and Zoe, both inheriting their supernatural abilities, their mothers were huntresses before them, passing down powers through the bloodlines. Mira, on the other hand, appeared to be the middle ground for the team. She was incredibly talented and charismatic without having any family legacy burden. Seline still thinks about her. What nobody imagines is that her supernatural abilities might have come from her demon half, not from training or the human talent alone. If Seline ever discovers the truth, there is a very real possibility that she would reject Mira the same way she did Rumi at the end of the film, when Rumi's demon nature became impossible to hide. Seline's entire philosophy revolves around perfection, control, and maintenance. Discovering one of her prized possessions, gathering demon blood, would shatter that carefully constructed illusion. There are even theories floating around the internet that Seline was the one who killed Rumi's father, and if that's true, then this would make a very interesting storyline. If you're shocked by how much evidence supports this theory, smash the like button and drop a comment about what you think Mira will discover about her origin in the future film. Mystery and Mira theory. There's another story that blows everyone's mind and periodically surfaces online, claiming that Mira and Mystery, who is one of the Saja boys' demons, are actually siblings. The primary evidence fans cite is quite specific. It's their earrings. Both characters wear nearly identical earring designs that are distinctive enough that it seems like it's unlikely to be coincidental character designs. Fans have built a huge theory suggesting that Mystery never directly targets or even seriously harms Mira during their battles, because he secretly knows that she is his sister and feels protective towards her. On the other hand, Mira doesn't know that at all. Honestly, this seems more like a strategic team division by the Saja boys than secret family protection. In the film's final battle sequences, we can even see that Baby and Mystery were assigned to face Zoe in an unwise romance, and other Saja members focused on Mira, the tactical. But even if that's not the case, carrying this amount of eerie detail is suspicious enough that it cannot be completely dismissed as a coincidence. If Mira and Mystery are actually siblings, sharing at least one demon or having demon parents, the age gap would be enormous and create a lot of timeline problems. Think about the sequence of the events. Here Mystery was born. He-Man grew up and became an idol. After experiencing career failure and disappointment there, he made a pact with the demon by trading his soul for the power and transformed into his supernatural form. The entire life trajectory represents a huge amount of time, potentially even 15 to 20 years minimum, probably even larger. If Mira were already born when Mystery was going through his failed idol career and transformation, she would probably have some memory of him, even if it's small or distorted. The fact that she knows nothing about him might mean that either she forgot or she was too young to remember. Maybe she wasn't even born at that point. In the flashback, photos Mystery clearly had dark hair during his human life, which means that he was actually a human, but he was born with bright pink hair, indicating that there was big demon blood from birth. If they were siblings, they would have been from two different parents, and they couldn't be siblings either. At least there would be half-siblings if one of the parents died and the surviving parent had a relationship with a demon or something. Even in this scenario, the age gap would be significant and would make the sibling theory somewhat awkward from various perspectives. The film draws a lot of different patterns between Rumi and Mira's situations, but with many differences that reveal the truth. Rumi knows she is a half-demon, but on the other hand, Mira completely blocked out the traumatic childhood memories of her powers to come. She doesn't know that she hurt someone with supernatural abilities, and she doesn't even know why her adoptive family treated her so differently. She doesn't understand where her exceptional format skills come from, and because she doesn't know, she feels no shame. However, in the next film, we might see a whole segment about Mira's background. What do you think about Mira's secret demon heritage? Let us know in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. I want to stay up to date with the latest K-pop Demon Hunter news.